What we like to call this is a virtual wind tunnel. So with Claire today, we're going to do several different scans. So we're going to look at slightly different body positions, so moving the cockpit forward and backwards, so stretching her out a little bit, different head positions, and then the question that always comes up, hydration. So we've got a water bottle that we're putting in the bike, and then whether or not that water bottle's in place on your down tube or behind you. Those are important questions aerodynamically. So we want to answer how much of a benefit will it be moving components around and changing your position. And for the athlete, in general, going into your next race, you can know that you might gain a minute or two on your next Olympic distance race, or if you're talking about an Ironman, it could be as extreme as 5 or 10 minutes in some cases. So the hardware we use for the scanning is actually an off-the-shelf 3D scanner. So this is the Microsoft Kinect. And this is capable of gathering a high-resolution image of a rider. So we can capture this data, and then through a couple post-processing steps, we can turn it into a full 3D model that looks nice and clean and is a very close representation of what we actually see on the bike. The analysis that we do is called computational fluid dynamics. So we are performing calculations that actually back out the aerodynamic data, so how the flow moves around the rider and how much drag they're creating, which will allow us to better fit a cyclist and improve their overall level of performance for the next race. This process only takes about 2 or 3 minutes for the scan. The actual data processing is a little bit longer. It takes about 24 hours for us to turn around a simulation, so it's fairly computationally intensive, but this is a process that we feel, given the short scan time, allows for easy accessibility to aerodynamic analysis. So it helps you narrow down to where the optimal position is, then you can fine-tune a couple different designs. And it also gives you a good perspective when you're combining it with a bike fit. So with a bike fit, you're able to capture the important biomechanics and then couple that with aerodynamics and find out what, in your case, the optimal position might be. So we've done this process on a number of professional athletes. Alex van der Linden and Cody Beals are 2 athletes that we've worked closely with, and we've seen very substantial gains. Cody has spent a lot of time in the wind tunnel, so his position's already dialed in, but we were able to replicate his wind tunnel results to within about 2%, which is incredibly good validation for any numerical study. Alex, we were able to take his original riding position and increase his performance, so by reducing his drag by approximately 10 to 15%. So it was a huge improvement. He's since modified the position slightly to make it a little bit more comfortable, so you've got to balance power and aerodynamics. But there is a large amount of performance to be gained by tweaking small things in your riding setup. So working with the pros has been great feedback for us because they've been able to tell us where the process helps them and where it hurts them, and being able to just analyze what kind of changes they need to make on their bike in order to get the best out of their next race.